My father always said that the best thing he and my mother got for their marriage was a king-sized mattress over a queen size. I always thought that was ridiculous until this last month when my wife and I needed a new bed. As fate would have it, we found a great deal on a king-sized mattress and spent the extra money. I'll be damned if that wasn't one of the best decisions we made aside from getting married and having kids. The extra room is awesome. We can snuggle or have some space. After intimate time, no one has to sleep in a wet spot, and if our kids try to get in bed with us, there is enough room that no one gets a kid's foot to the face. So, what random bit of advice turned out to work wonders for your marriage? Story 1. My grandfather told me, never go to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. What I learned is that he would always help my grandma, and that is when they did their most talking. Story 2. The advice I have given people is this. If you can go grocery shopping with your person and have the best time ever, you have yourself a keeper. It is all about making the best of the mundane things, because after years of being together, life becomes predictable. You will need to keep the spice going regardless of what you are doing. Source: married 15 years. Story 3. At my wedding, my wife's grandmother offered some funny, weird, and solid advice. She said, if you get angry with each other, go to bed naked and see if you can resolve it before you go to sleep. So far, so good. Anniversary on Monday. Story 4. When our child was about to be born, someone told me to change the first diaper. If you can handle the first one, the others will be easy. So I did. I didn't know what I was doing, so I asked the nurse at the hospital to teach me, and I changed the first few diapers while my wife recovered from a difficult labor. The advice was correct. No other diaper was as unpleasant as the first one. It got very easy, and I never minded doing it, and my wife was really grateful. I loved that I could take on some of the parenting chores since there was so much that she was the only one equipped to provide. Story 5. Do not have too high of expectations. My dad told us that, but we found most of our early fights were when one or the other had unspoken expectations of the other in marriage. It is positively life-changing to be married, and an amazing experience, but still life goes on. Story 6. Grandma said, love is like coffee. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's bitter. No matter how you like it, it is good. But it's only great when you get it the way you like it. Make sure you get what you want. Story 7. There are certain words and certain tones of voice that you can use on your children, a friend, a subordinate, or even your boss, but which you just shouldn't use on your spouse. Story 8. My stepmom just passed away, and Dad said something that has profoundly changed my attitude. The little things that annoyed me are the things I now miss. So, for some reason, she squeezes a massive glob of toothpaste that mostly falls into the sink basin, and she doesn't wash away the toothpaste spit. It really annoys me. If or when she's gone, that little constant annoyance that reminds me she's there will be gone too. Don't nag about the little things. Rather, embrace them. Still, let her know. She has made progress on other things I've pointed out, as I try to adapt to her wishes. Story 9. Moma said, don't come whining to me about your wife. Go talk to her. And don't spend your time complaining to anyone about your significant other. If you need advice, ask, but no talking down about your significant other. Chances are they have a long list of complaints too. Story 10. Always act like it's the last time you'll see them because it might be. My mother passed last year at 45 from her second bout with cancer. In the middle of the night, my dad said he's glad he stayed up later to spend a few more minutes with her, to tell her he loved her. You never know when you'll never see them again. Also, pride doesn't belong in your marriage. If you have any self-pride, leave it at the door. Both you and your partner should serve each other and support each other, each putting the other first. Accept that they are giving it their all, even if their all isn't what it was last month. Story 11. Say thank you for day-to-day things, even taking out the trash, sweeping the floor, or folding laundry. Audibly hearing thank you reinforces the feeling of being appreciated. Story 12. Mine is almost the exact opposite. My husband snores really loudly. I started sleeping separately, and we have a much better relationship now. Probably because I'm not constantly sleep deprived. We both fought it so hard for so long because there is this idea that only unhappy couples sleep apart from each other. The truth is, you've got to do what works for both of you and not worry about preconceived notions about intimacy. Story 13. Don't trust everything here. Original poster says king bed stops children's feet to the face. Can confirm, he's wrong there because my kid still does 360-degree roundhouse kickflips in his sleep in our king bed and I still get the occasional foot to the face. Story 14. This is one I developed myself about 10 years ago. Don't forget to breathe. Your relationship was founded on your individuality. If you are not taking time to be yourselves as individuals, you are not maintaining yourselves and eroding the foundation of your relationship and your life. There is a reason most employers provide vacation. Time to get away from the grindstone, reset, recharge, and breathe. The same thing applies to your relationships. When you are together, you are a couple. When you are with the kids, you are parents. At work, you are working. There is a reason things like guys or girls' night, man caves, and craft rooms exist. To take time apart, build individually, and appreciate your time together more. This is true of all relationships. Romantic, parental, vocational, and personal. If you're not breathing, you're not doing much. Story 15. After having a baby, you will fight and argue a lot. You will both be exhausted from lack of sleep, and that causes high emotions. It won't last. Be aware it's coming. Do the best you can to work together. Story 16. Looks fade. Marry someone who you enjoy talking to. Grandma. I also feel strongly about this one. Find someone who is okay with you both having separate hobbies. My wife does her thing and I have my hobby. We share some hobbies, but we are okay with spending time apart too. We don't have to always do them together. I couldn't imagine marrying a woman who needed to do every single thing I did just to be around me. She needs to have her own life and I love not forcing her into the nerdy stuff I enjoy. Story 17. Whoever cares the most gets to choose, within reason obviously. Maybe you don't care which restaurant you eat at tonight, so you let her choose. But maybe when your parents come to visit, you care a lot about where you take them. Then you choose. Story 18. Before I was married, I had an irregular heartbeat due to single guy life choices. The doctor prescribed medication for it, but told me the best option was to get married. Now I'm married, have a regular sleeping schedule, eat healthy meals at home, drink less, lost weight, and have no more heart problems. Story 19. If you don't agree on religion, then walk away. If you're an atheist, don't marry a heavily religious person. You'll get sick of hearing it's God's will, or he has a plan for you. Conversely, you don't want your spouse to invalidate or question your beliefs. This is said because Christian values are meant to make a good partner. According to society, at least the one I'm from. Story 20. Don't marry a woman whose dad calls her princess, because she probably believes it. Much to his regret, my brother ignored this advice from our dad. Story 21. Don't spend all your time together. The best thing to happen to my marriage was that we each have 2 or 3 nights to ourselves to do what we want. She watches her shows, I watch mine, or play video games. It also makes the time together more special and gives us more to talk about. Story 22. A meme when I was first getting married was, "Happy wife, happy life," which has some degree of accuracy. But much later, I learned the better version, which I should have been more considerate of, "Happy spouse, happy house." Story 23. Don't marry a woman who has horses. She will always be broke, you will never be first, and your schedule will revolve around feedings. Pop, who married a woman who had horses. Story 24. My dad used to tell me this. You can only control 2 things in this life, your thoughts and your actions. The rest is out of your control, and you need to let it go. I used to think it was so stupid when I was a kid, but man, has it been spot on as I became an adult. Story 25. My mom told me once, and I still can't decide if this is good or bad. I think it's just realistic, which helped me. She said, if you're expecting a 50-50 balance all the time, you're going to be disappointed a lot. Sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 70-30, and sometimes it's 90-10. You'll have times where he's doing it all, and he'll have times where you're doing it all. I think what she meant was basically, marriage is hopefully long. Don't keep score. Story 26. My mom told me this once. Stuff happens. No matter how bad things are between you and your spouse, never let anyone know your problems other than your spouse. When we shared our problems, especially with someone of a different gender, it would bring another problem. That's where the third person becomes involved. Story 27. My dad asked me 10 minutes before getting married if I was sure I wanted to do this and said I could back out now if I wanted to. I should have listened. My marriage lasted 8 years, yet my parents have been married 60 years now. Story 28. Advice I wish I had. You don't have to do everything together to hang out together. It's perfectly okay for you to just do your own thing while your spouse is doing their own thing. I ended up gaining a good 30 pounds the first few months we were together because I tried to keep up with my husband's, who was much taller and bigger than me, diet just because I wanted to spend time with him. Story 29. Do not share your arguments with your family. It will create a negative image of your spouse. This is very true and will cause more unnecessary issues than you need in life. Story 30. Love isn't about having nice feelings for each other. It's about acting for the betterment of someone else, even if you don't feel like it. Emotions will change. Your willingness to treat your spouse a certain way doesn't have to. Story 31. From my sister, you're not always in love, but you always love. From my uncle, be careful what you say when you're angry. You can't always take it back. Both were married until the day they died, and my uncle was happily married. My advice is it's about commitment. We are committed to spending the rest of our lives together through all the bad times. Story 32. We have a few. There are no secrets in the shower. If you had a bad day and don't want to talk about it, too bad. You just have to mention why it was a bad day. 10 out of 10 times, after even saying what is bothering us, we feel better. Have a bad thought that you are too scared to say out loud or want to tell a secret that no one else can ever know, say it in the shower. Want to just aimlessly talk in the shower. It's uninterrupted 10 to 15 minutes at your most vulnerable state. We implemented something called a lunch break. My husband and I almost never argue. We can almost always squash things before it turns into an argument, but we are human. When we find ourselves just disagreeing and not communicating, we take a lunch break. We eat and talk about whatever else is on our mind or watch an episode of our show. Then after an hour, we bring up what we discussed, and again, 10 out of 10 times, we are back on track and it diffused immediately. The best friend hat. My partner and I were very close friends before we started dating. At times he would frustrate me or I would be angry, and I would text him, "My boyfriend is pissing me off." And he would act confused and say I sent it to the wrong person. When I told him that we are still friends and I needed a best friend, he played along. It really helped to see different viewpoints and helped us understand where our minds were when we had a disagreement. This paid off in the long run. Story 33. Collars and leashes work just as well for your female dog as they do for your male dog, said my over 80-year-old great uncle at my wedding. Touching needs to be about more than just sex, man. You've got to touch for the sake of love and connection, said a 20-year-old drug dealer at my wedding. Story 34. The whole women talk to share emotions, not to find solutions, still feels totally bizarre and wrong to me. But it works so well, it's like a cheat code or something. Story 35. The advice I've always followed and given is that if you ever go into a gas station, you should always bring back a snack for your significant other. Costs next to nothing. A chocolate bar is less than $2 where I live. Shows that you're thinking about them and makes them happy. Another piece of advice I received before my wife and I were married is that if you feel a fight starting, put it on hold and have intimacy if possible. While it sounds strange, it can help. Story 36. Touch each other regularly, and I don't mean sexually. Touch is bonding, and couples tend to take each other for granted and forget to connect physically. Every time you pass the other person, a simple touch to the arm or back is bonding, loving, affectionate, and simply amazing. It's become a habit for my spouse and me after reading it on a marriage counselor tips website. Even when mad, touch can be connecting and calming, and heck, if it leads to sexual touch later, it's a win-win. Story 37. Bill Maher said, The three most important words in a relationship aren't, I love you, they're, let it go. Oddly, this has proven to be some of the best relationship advice I've ever heard. Story 38. My dad told me, no matter how right you are about something, stay silent and let her express herself. She'll run out of steam eventually. You've said nothing you regret, nothing that can be held against you, and she's smart enough to figure out you were right, completely on her own. If you're wrong, admit it, apologize, and be quiet. Either way, let her talk. Clearly, women don't release gas in that way, so we let them vent through complaining so they don't explode. They were married for 40 years. He did something right. Story 39. My dad gave me 2 bits of advice I never forgot. When you are ready to settle down, marry a smart woman like your mother. It's too exhausting to have to lead a partner through life by the hand, and you want someone you trust to solve problems with. Men marry women hoping that they will never change, but they always do. Women marry men hoping that they will change, but they never do. Both are disappointed. Know this going in. Story 40. King-sized mattress over a queen size. I can confirm, a king is far superior to a queen. My in-laws bought us 1 year ago on Black Friday, and it has been the best thing ever. About 2 years ago, we bought one of those mattresses where you can't really feel the other person moving, and it has been awesome. My wife and I work varied hours for childcare reasons. I go to bed about 90 minutes earlier than she does and almost never wake up when she gets into bed. No one has to sleep in a wet spot. Just use a bath towel. We've been doing that for years. Just toss them in the laundry when you're done. No more wet spot. My dad told me to never work at a job in which you get paid a salary and the hours don't matter. He was a brass and copper worker union guy for like 55 years. Get paid for the hours you work. I get what he was saying. As a salaried employee, you could end up working a 45-hour week, thus making less per hour technically. But on the flip side of that, if you're sick and don't go to work as an hourly employee, you might not get paid, depending on the job and company. I am salaried now, and I don't get paid extra for hours over my 40. I do get compensated with that time off in the future. Generally speaking, I like having that compensatory time, but occasionally it would be nice for a bigger paycheck.